Then, for seemingly no reason, his wife had a nervous breakdown, began taking medication, needed shock treatments. The doctor said it might be something unresolved from her childhood, or possibly the change of life, maybe a combination of the two. She recovered and returned to the home, but she was never quite the same, the way an athlete who injures a knee is never the player he once was. Jimmy's son was openly rebellious. Jimmy didn't know if he was just growing up or spinning out of control. Perhaps when so much care had to be focused on his mother, the boy was craving attention. He ran away from home several times, hung out with a crowd that did drugs, and died one night in an automobile accident, a terrible crash that killed 2 other teens. He was 16 years old. Jimmy's daughter was quiet, introspective, and a brilliant student in school. She intended to become a lawyer and said she wanted to be the first woman from her state elected to the U.S. Senate. She went to Bennington College, and 2 years after her brother died, when she was 19, she killed herself. She hung herself by a sheet from a bathroom fixture in her dormitory. Her friends at school said that her death was a total shock and surprise. Her body had to be flown home for the funeral. Jimmy, who was born a Catholic but hadn't been to church in years, went to see a priest he knew very well because he'd played tennis with the man for years. And he told the priest the entire story, leaving out nothing. It was not a confession. It was a search for an explanation. Jimmy was devastated. "I don't understand, Father," he said, tears filling his eyes. "My father left us with nothing, and I turned out all right. I gave my family everything they could want, and I did not neglect them. I think I was a good father and husband, and now my family is destroyed. Did I do this? Did I succeed only because of my father's failure? Did my success destroy my children?" The priest thought for a long time, searching for an honest reply to his friend's urgent inquiry, and then he said, "Jimmy, I won't try to kid you. We've known each other too long for that. All of this, everything you've told me, is exactly why I became a priest." "Why is that, Father?" said Jimmy. "What do you mean?" "Because I looked around and I could see at a very early age that I didn't understand why things were the way they were. There didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to our lives. So much of it was capricious, incomprehensible, and cruel. My mother died of cancer. She wasted away when I was just a boy. It was a terrible thing to see. I loved her so much. She was young and beautiful, the light of my life, and then she was gone. I thought the pain of seeing her suffer without being able to help, and the pain of losing her would kill me. I didn't think I could go on. Life became unbearable for me. And so I decided to put my life in the hands of a greater power, an immutable law. I sacrificed a life of worldly pleasures for the assurance of my soul." "I thought priests were here to serve their fellow men," said Jimmy. "That too, if we can," said the priest. "But it was the fear for my own soul that led me to renounce the world. And though I dread to admit it, I did not accept the Lord, not even when I took my vows. I prayed and prayed that he would accept me, but that's not the same thing, and I knew it." "Did you ever discover him?" Jimmy said. "I hope I have," the priest said. "I have faith in him, but none in the world." "But he made this world," said Jimmy. "You believe that, don't you?" "I believe in God," said the priest. "Everything else is a mystery." "Pain and suffering and horror," said Jimmy. "Plenty of that," said the priest. "Life is a vale of tears." "Do you apologize for that?" said Jimmy. "Aren't you his representative?" "Only his servant," said the priest. "You do his bidding?" Jimmy said. "If I can," said the priest. "And what does he ask you to do?" said Jimmy. "Love him and love my fellow man," said the priest. "I'm sorry, but love seems hollow to me now," said Jimmy. "Can you do anything for me?" "Nothing more than to tell you to put your trust in God, as I have," said the priest. "You are his child, he loves you, and he will save you if you believe in him." "What kind of belief is it that is born of fear?" said Jimmy. "What kind of belief is that?" "I hope heaven has a back door," said the priest. because I know I'm not fit or worthy to walk in through the front gates. I never faced the trials in my own life. I spent it trying to help other people face theirs. I lacked courage. I tried to be good instead. You are a good man, Jimmy said. I have tried to be, said the priest, but now you see the truth of it. I beg you not to judge God by the likes of me. Go to him, and he will comfort you. I don't know if I can now, said Jimmy. I do not see how any father could abandon his child. And he went away, more troubled than ever, with the word destitute once again ringing in his mind. That night the priest offered his prayers for Jimmy and himself as well.